Thank you, Madam President. So just a couple cleanup items. Mr. Ferguson, we have your one exhibit is the report. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's the only exhibit you've submitted. Okay. Mr. Wotus, and just for the benefit of Mr. Ferguson as well, because we need to make sure that everyone's looking at the same record, how do you want to handle your exhibits? Will you provide electronic copies?
So I can provide electronic. I can provide paper to both township or the town and to Dwight. Doesn't matter to me.
And how, in order to keep them in some semblance of order, how do you plan on marking them? And
So we have one that was physically submitted that started with A1, and then what we'll do is just A2, A3, A4, A5. That's what I propose.
Based on the nature of the document, a site plan would be A3, and then you just kind of name them as you go through.
Correct. As we get, the only one that will be out of order would be the submission that was physically handed up, because that was listed as A1 since she physically had that already. So then everything else would move the
Is
same
that
way.
acceptable to you?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Maybe if there was just like just an itemization, a sheet that itemized.
An index?
You could.
Yeah, if you could include an
Just a little
index.
bit. I'll do an index of mine too.
Perfect, yeah, it'll be a short.
I'll put index/itemization. A little bit of both.
Right, okay, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Mr. Zandier, you have any objections to handling it that way?
No objection.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to, because essentially the cases are over, we're left with the public comment. I'll turn it over to Council President.
So, both sides have agreed to submit their closing, let me say the right words, their closing statements by the applicant and the objector in writing to the town. They've said everything they had to say, basically is what they said, and that as long as we have them in writing, that we're fine. The other thing is, we have, our court reporter has typed 200 pages since she has been here. So we have two options. I can take a show of hands of how many people have a comment, so we know about how much longer we're going. If it's going to be much longer, we're going to have to reconvene at another time to finish this hearing. It's just too much to do that much typing. So I'm not asking anyone, I'm not trying to get anyone to not talk who wants to talk. I'm not trying to get anyone to not say what they want to say. Don't hear that. We just need to know, are we going to get done here shortly? Or if we're going to go on, then we need to continue on at another time. So can I have a show of hands of people who want to speak? 1, 2 people, 3 people. Okay.
Let's do it.
Madam
President, I just want to voice one concern. I noticed a lot of people have left due to the lateness of the hour, and I am concerned that because of the duration of this, they may not have an opportunity to publicly comment on this in some way. I just want to share that, because I don't have any empirical evidence other than I watched a lot of people leave.
Are you suggesting that we do something different?
Perhaps provide for some additional public comment at another time due to the lateness of this hour and wrap this up. But is that possible? Is there?
It's really not. I mean, the council's going to need to base its decision on the record and testimony and evidence presented tonight. I will say that the public will have an opportunity to comment, not necessarily introduce new evidence, but comment at the zoning committee meeting during the public comment portion of this particular item. While that's not exactly the same as being on the record at the hearing, it's something that council will still receive that input.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I saw 3 hands go up, if I counted right, 3 people that want to say something. Would it be proper or inappropriate to ask them how much time they think they need? If somebody says
Their time, 5 minutes max.
They get up to 5
15
minutes.
then, right?
Right.
Is it only 3 people that want?
4.
4.
Oh, 4. Now we're up to another.
Okay, all right, 4 comments, going once, going twice. Okay, we can get through that much. Thank you so much. What?
I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure the record is closed. Everyone's in agreement, right?
The record will be closed after public comment.
After public
So it is after public
It
comment.
Yeah,
is,
right.
yes.
Yes.
But,
This would be,
for this evening. Any other public comment on it will be not. The record won't be kept open.
that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we'll have
All
a public comment, then we'll ask for a motion to adjourn the hearing, the record will be closed, except for your proposed findings.
Right.
All right, the first person can come up to the microphone, and the second person can be behind them, so you're ready to come up as soon as they're ready. Let's go.
All right. My name is Jason Moots. I live at 160. Oh,
I need everybody to spell their names for me, please.
sure. Jason, and the last name is Moots, Moots. I live at 160 Montclair. My first comment is I did receive the same letters that my attorney showed that the Gronskys got. We initially all thought that 131 was not going to be included on this whole plan at all. I only found out from Bruce because I went in person to meet with him last week. So it was very confusing to an average citizen on this block to know that 131 was included in this plan. The other comment I had was repeatedly Sheetz has said and asked their witnesses, would this gas station cause any more undue stress or disturbance on the neighborhood than another gas station? They have never once asked the question, would it cause more disturbance than another business that's not a gas station? I think that's really important to keep in mind. I do have some documents I'm going to pass out to you guys. One very important thing, President Zachary asked about the 300-foot rule and how many homes would be affected. I actually went with my neighbor Sue over the weekend. We ordered a 300-foot spool of string from Amazon. I met with Bruce last week. He gave me the approximate location of where the gas holding tank would be located. Sue stood on that spot, and I went down the entire street. There are 7 to 8 properties that would be affected. They include 130 Montclair, 136, 137, 143, and 148. The video clearly shows me walking down in front of all these properties with the string. And a look back at Sue. I'll give you the link for the video. I might also add there are definitely 2 properties on East Fairview Avenue, 111 and 131, that definitely touch it because the lot dimensions are only 240 feet deep. And there's a third one back there, 133 East Fairview, that would kind of be in like the gray area.
Excuse me, Mr. Roots. Just tell me, what is that in connection with the repeat it?
FHA has a guideline that if you're within 300 feet of a 1,000-gallon holding tank of gas, you're automatically disqualified for an FHA loan. Because 25% of the buyers in the U.S. use an FHA loan, I feel that it would dramatically decrease the value of those properties.
Was it on the edge of the property or to the house?
To where I didn't go on anybody's property because I don't want to get accused of trespassing. So I went up to their property boundary.
To the property boundary
correct.
Or to the home?
To the home, to the property. Their role is to the property boundary. Yes, yes. The other thing I did want to note too that I thought was very important is I have a well. It is my only source of drinking water. Their environmental guy did testify it wouldn't, their tanks wouldn't leak and so forth, and I do tend to believe him on that. What he didn't answer for me was the disturbance to the water table. Once they dig up the ground under it, it could reduce the flow rate of my well. The other thing with it too is he didn't account for any spill off, like when you overflow a gas tank or a little gas tank you take. If it's a rainy, snowy day, that's going to go right over the hill, into my drinking water possibly. I did talk to Bruce last week, and he said that the township might impose that, they would do a test on my well now and then one in a year. After that, I'm going to be responsible to keep testing my well for a gas station that they're putting in. I don't think that that's a reasonable demand on me. I feel that, the minimal that this multi-billion-dollar company could do for the residents is to put the people with only well water on public water and offer to cap the people that have active wells but public water. I don't think that that's, an unheard of condition that you could impose on them. It would put a lot of our fears and safety to rest, I feel like. I also don't feel that making sure that no house was in that 300-foot range for the FHA financing is too much. The other thing I did want to just make a quick comment on was I am really disappointed with this company because we did hear so much that Beryl, Seavest, Sunrise, all those we've sat through all those zoning hearings. It seems like all those companies are bending over backwards, as well as the township, to make sure even if one citizen has a complaint, it's addressed and taken care of. There are so many of us that felt the need, so scared with this, we had to hire an attorney, just because in the last 6 months, Sheetz has not offered one meeting with us to be proactive, sit down with us, ask us what would make us happy, how they could work with us. Instead, they're relying on, this is our plan, we're going to cram it down your throats, and township is going to like it, and they're going to approve it, and you'll be stuck with it. I feel like had they just done half of what Barrel's doing, we wouldn't be here tonight. Thank you.
Next person, please, come up.
Good almost morning. Madam President, members of council, members of the audience. My name is Ralph Ledon. Ralph, common spelling. Ledon is spelled Ledonne, Peebles Road, Ward 6. My purpose here was to, as a point of information and starting as a point of history, about over 30 years ago, I began another career as a real estate agent, and I was licensed by the state of Pennsylvania as a licensed realtor, and as such, I listed, sold, and showed many properties, especially concentrating out here in the North Hills. I understand there is a concern about the reduction of property values wherever development takes place. I was pretty much a rookie when a rookie real estate agent when they started developing McIntyre Square. And we had the same situation there as we do here relative to the concern about property value impact. The fact of the matter was that the people in Windmill Acres, Briarwood, Graybrook, and the Longview Acre plans were concerned that the development of McIntyre Square would reduce their property values. Well, as a rookie real estate agent, I took it upon myself to do a study of that particular question or position. And as it turned out, over time, even before McIntyre Square was built out, the property values of those properties in Windmill Acres, Briarwood, Graybrook, and Longview Acres actually increased in value. Many of you might remember the motion picture Field of Dreams, where there was a phrase in there that said something like, I may misquote, but it said, if you build it, they will come. That may or may not be the exact verbiage, but the fact remains is where there is commerce, there is population. People came in droves to your McCandless Crossing development, wherein you have the residential properties adjoining that development. The fact of the matter is those properties were sold before half of that McCandless Crossings was built out. So, and when their starting prices were made known, very shortly thereafter, their property values and prices increased incrementally. So from a real estate standpoint, I learned, and through the multi-list system, that properties do benefit by the introduction of development. That's my statement. I just wanted everyone to know that that's what I learned as a licensed real estate agent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker. Come on.
My name is Stephanie Howard, Howard, Stephanie with a PH and an IE. I don't have much to say other than the fact that I understand the concerns of the people that live on Montclair, we're talking about, what, 8 houses? There's over 28,000 people that live in McCandless, and I mean, so many of them frequent the Sheetz that is there now. And I think that you have to think about the whole township as a community, not just these couple people. McCandless Crossing is booming, and I'm sure that there were people that didn't want that, but look at our community now. I mean, it brought a lot of business and commerce. And I guess that's about it. Sheetz is a great company. If you go to any of the other stores, you'll see that they do whatever is necessary to make it, what's the word I'm looking for? Just make it comfortable for anybody or business that is around. Go to some of the stores and see. They'll put landscaping up and whatever is necessary that they need to. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Robert Prazer, Prazer. Hi. I'm sorry to read from notes, but I want to make sure I made all these points quickly. I've been an owner of a property, 8500 Perry Highway, for 25 years and a fellow taxpayer. I had my business there for 9 years. I would have stayed at 8500 Perry Highway if I would have been allowed to develop the property. In 2001, the plans to develop and expand my business and property were denied by the township. I simply wanted to expand my parking lot, and I was denied by town council. I was forced to move to continue to develop my business and keep up with healthcare standards. I've had the property for sale for 17 years, sell or rent. We've been unable to sell it, but we've had a few random tenants, mostly startup businesses who could not afford market rent, and all subsequently moved or closed their businesses. No other offers for the business, no other offers were made to purchase my property in 17 years. There aren't many buyers out there for that type of property. Of course, anyone in my shoes would be happy to sell their property. Because it's been there for 17 years for sale. And it's hard to rent. After significant investment in the property, we lost our most recent tenant due to the uncertainty of the future of these properties. She was also in an accident at the intersection of Montclair and Perry Highway before moving out. Even with below market rent, we have been unable to attract quality, viable tenants. It's a very tired part of the corridor, and it's overdue for an update. I know some of the residents feel this project might negatively impact them. That remains to be seen. This is obviously a difficult decision. When I'm faced with a tough decision, I think it's best to defer what's for the greater good. In thinking about the greater good, many more will benefit from approving this project. I have 4 quick points. 1, a convenient and updated store to buy gas, coffee, and basic staples for all who live nearby or pass through the corridor. A lot more people will benefit from that. 2, a safer intersection that is compliant with all current standards and regulations and at no cost to the taxpayers or the township. 3, increased tax revenue for the township will help keep property taxes from increasing on residents. 4, a more updated and attractive section of the corridor versus older buildings that are not feasible to totally renovate due to low rents and ordinances that small businesses don't have the resources to accomplish, i.e. we can't pay for a new intersection as small business owners. So what is the alternative? What happens if we say no to this proposition? I just drove by it on the way here. It's Trader Horn and Showcase Cinemas. It's a ghost town. And I don't want to see that happen to Perry Highway.
Thank you. Was there one more? Was that 4?
Yeah, 4.
Is there a motion to?
I'm sorry, one more thing, and I apologize. This is probably the wrong time to ask the court reporter this question, but about what type of turnaround time would you think?
2 days, right?
She's never coming back to McCandless.
And the reason I ask that is so that we can get on the record. So that we can get on the record when we're going to require the proposed findings to be submitted by the applicant and the objectors.
1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks. All right. And council plans to vote, I believe, on the 26th. Is the
November.
intent, right? In November. Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Wotus, do you have any suggestions or proposals for deadlines for the findings?
Just the ones that we discussed before, 21 days after the season.
Well, that's going to push us back to the December meeting potentially to vote. opportunity to review the proposed findings and conclusions, which I think will be helpful for everybody if we have those. So, I don't know, Mr. Kordek, do you have any concerns if we would push this back to a following voting meeting?
It's going to depend on the schedule in the zoning office for the time period.
The MPC time period.
Yeah, the MPC.
Well, I would ask Mr. Wotus, on the record to.
Yeah, my only question would be is if it somehow gets turned around fast enough, we agreed on the 21 days, but I'll stand by that, is if it gets turned around and we still have the ability to have 3 weeks submitted prior to that, I don't know how much in advance you want those.
I mean, obviously, the sooner the better, right?
The morning of, right? No, so I mean, that's all I'd say, is that, we would obviously prefer to keep it on track, in terms of, I think, what was originally anticipated for November. However, everybody's got other constraints, so whenever she gets it done, she gets it done.
All right, so we'll agree to 21 days after the transcripts are completed, and if that pushes us past the next voting meeting, Mr. Wotus, will you agree to post and extend the MPC guideline or deadlines?
It's a hard question.
I understand. Well, how about this? Since you might need to go get authority for that, why don't we aim for the 21 days after receipt of the transcript? If that looks like it's going to take us past November 26th, the three of us will talk, and we'll have to get an extension in writing from you if you're willing to give us the extension. Okay. Mr. Betty.
Procedurally, with the substantive challenge, how is that going to work?
I have not even seen the substantive challenge. We could talk about that, how about bright and early tomorrow morning?
Okay, I think, did I hear Dwight say withdrew it? I think I heard him say that.
I was on the record.
I think it's getting late.
Okay, with that said, Madam President, a motion to adjourn the hearing would be appropriate.
I move that we adjourn the hearing.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Madam President, may I return to the big kids table?
Yes, come over here.
So according to Google Maps, there's no possible way that more than
Okay,
2
meeting's only over for some people. Other people have,
got a 1,500.
moving on. If you're finished, if you don't mind stepping out in the hallway, we have more business to attend to.
That's Jason's.
Okay, that's all right, that's right. Okay, I'd like to call to order the public hearing on the ordinance tentatively, you're gonna have to help me with my speech. Tentatively identified as ordinance number 1480, an ordinance amending Part 9, Article 913 of the codified ordinances, these are too long, of the town of McCandless entitled Stormwater Management by deleting the existing Article 913 in its entirety and replacing it with a new Article 913 to establish updated regulations regarding stormwater management and sedimentation and erosion controls within the public. This public hearing will be reviewed at Town Council's Zoning Committee meeting November 12th, 2018. A vote is scheduled at Council's regular business meeting on November 26th, 2018. Public will be welcome to comment on the proposed ordinances. Comments will be directed to the chair. Each town resident or taxpayer may comment for up to 5 minutes. Bruce, you have a?
Yeah, this was a requirement that the town had to amend their stormwater ordinance, which we last adopted in 2008, to comply with Allegheny County's countywide stormwater ordinance. And we also had to make 2 changes to comply with MS4 requirements. So the changes, a lot of the changes were definitions and minor modifications, but there are a few that I wanted to point out, which were requirements that we didn't have in our ordinance. One is, in our previous ordinance, we did not have a provision for the town council to grant waivers. We did that purposefully. We did not want to get into the having to force town council to make decisions on whether or not a waiver would be granted. And unfortunately, the county ordinance does require us to have a provision for an undue hardship, so that was added into the ordinance. Another provision which was added, or which we already had in our ordinance, we have stream buffers. Our current stream buffers are 50 feet from a watershed stream that drains more than 100 acres. Presently, if it's less than 100 acres, the stream buffer is only 15 feet. The county ordinance requires us to go to 35 feet, expand it from 15 feet to 35 feet. There is a provision in the county ordinance which says that trails and utilities can go through those stream buffer requirements. A third provision which I wanted to identify was that we had to add a one-year storm calculation criteria, 1.98 inches, and add a 50-year storm calculation criteria, which is 4.43 acres. And, oh, I'm sorry, inches, sorry. Might be getting late.
We're still listening.
Again, most of the other changes are definitions, and we had to do a lot of re-referencing. Our ordinance references back and forth, so we had to do a lot of changes and pretty much had to go through rewrite the entire ordinance. But substantively, those are the changes that had to be made.
Any questions by council? Any questions by the public? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting our, oh, sorry, that's right, excuse me. Motion to close the public hearing, we're not voting tonight. Motion to close the public hearing,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Joan?
Finance and Personnel. I move to approve check listing number 10 dated September 6, 2018 through October 4th, 2018, totaling $1,161,968.06 as submitted to each member of council and posted on the bulletin board and town website.
Second.
There has been a motion and second. Is there any question? Comments on the budget? By council, no. Any from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the check listings, number 10, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt resolution number 19 of the 2018 series, a resolution setting dates of various meetings of town council and town authorities, boards and commissions, and advisory committees for the 2019 calendar year.
Second.
And this is just how we set up our, the calendar that we're gonna have printed and sent out. We have to all agree to this, and that's kind of what this is. Any comments? Anything needs to be changed? Comments from the audience? All those in favor of accepting the 2019 calendar schedule indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt resolution number 20 of the 2018 series, a resolution supporting women impacting public policy, and the Small Business Saturday Coalition proclaiming Saturday, November 24th, 2018, as Small Business Saturday in the town of McCandless.
Second.
There's been a motion and accepted, and a second to accept the resolution supporting women in small business. Is there any comment? I am aware of the hour, but I do think it's important to read this. I am, and I believe this council and this town are strong supporters of women becoming more involved in public policy as well as small business. Whereas the town of McCandless, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania celebrates our local small business and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Association, there are currently 30.2 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States. are represented for 65.9% of net new jobs created from 2000 to 2017. And whereas small business employs 47.5% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, and whereas 90% of consumers in the United States say Small Business Saturday has had a positive impact in the community, and whereas 89% of consumers who are aware of Small Business Saturday say that day encourages them to shop small all year long, and whereas 73% of consumers who reportedly shopped small at independently owned retailers and restaurants on Small Business Saturday did so with friends and family. Whereas the most oft-reported reason for consumers aware of the day to shop and dine at small independently owned business was to support their community. That was 64%. Whereas the town of McCandless supports our local business that creates jobs, boosts our local economy, and preserve our community. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving, that's after Black Friday, as Small Business Saturday. The Council of the Town of McCandless do hereby proclaim November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday. Any comments on this resolution?
Can you read it again?
I thought it was important. Any comments from the citizens? Hearing none, all of those in favor is accepting of this resolution indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt resolution number 21 of the 2018 series, a resolution authorizing the 2018 allocation of general municipal pension system aid.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. This is just part of how we pay for our pension. Any questions? No? Citizens? A motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 21 for municipal pension system aid, accepting it, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt resolution number 22 of the 2018 series, a resolution of the Town of McCandless, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, approving the appointment of Judith M. Wagner as Deputy Tax Collector effective November 1st, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. This is an attempt to redistribute some of our Assistant Town Manager's duties as he will be leaving us November 1st. Any questions? Audience? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt resolution number 23 of the 2018 series, a resolution designating Assistant to the Town Manager John Bajarski as the town's Open Records Officer, also referred to as Right to Know Officer.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Again, this is redistributing responsibilities of our Assistant Town Manager. Questions? All those in favor of reassigning this duty to John Bajarski, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I would like to move to appoint Christina Patterson as junior councilperson to the Town Council of the Town of McCandless to commence immediately and expire June 30th, 2018.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for Christine, for junior council member. All those indicate, is there any comments?
I didn't hear
It
that.
will
What?
expire
2009.
in 2019, yes.
Thank you.
No, sorry, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, caught that.
Any questions?
Catch.
Okay. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Roll call.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Nay.
Ward 4,
Aye.
Ward 5,
Nay.
Ward 6,
Nay.
Ward 7,
Aye.
Ward 1.
Nay.
Vote was 3 ayes, 4 nays. Motion failed.
Is there another nomination for junior council member?
Michael Taft. I'd like to nominate Michael Taft.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second for our junior council member, Michael Taff. Comments or questions?
I think they were all excellent candidates.
They
If it
were-
was up to me, I'd put their name in a hat and pull a name. That's my feeling about it. The kids out here, they're fantastic.
They were fantastic.
Very,
Every one of
very
them.
impressive young people.
It is a difficult decision. Any other comments?
Just real quickly, what's his basic resume? I know we two young men we talked to, and somebody had a copy of that.
He was the one that was on moot court, Pitts moot court.
Junior high school, report type situation.
Yeah. He argued against Gavin. I mean,
Really?
no.
No. Do you want the other one?
Are there any other comments about Mr. Taft?
Junior.
Any other comments? All right, all those in favor of appointing Michael Taft as junior council member indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes the finance and personnel.
Zoning committee, Greg.
Move to approve the land development application of LaRoche College to replace outdoor batting cages with approximately 3,400 square foot building housing indoor batting cages and an office area to be installed by LaRoche College adjacent to its baseball field at 9,000 Babcock Boulevard, which is off Duncan Avenue as per job number 3150401 dated September 4th, 2018, prepared by R.A. Smith, pages 1 through 16, with the latest revision being October 5th, 2018.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to change the batting cages at LaRoche College. Any questions? It's keeping the same footprint, basically. It's just
Going inside.
enclosing.
Going
Yeah.
indoor.
Yeah. Any comments? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving this land development indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to approve the land development application of North Allegheny School District for renovation, modifying the existing front canopy and adding a child drop-off pickup canopy for improved circulation, replacing windows and construction of an approximately 5,400 square foot expansion of McKnight Elementary School located at 500 Cumberland Road as per project number 3180041.02 dated August 31st, 2018, pages 1 through 25, with the latest revision being October 5th, 2018, with the stipulation that the town receive a payment into the town of McCandless Transportation District Fund equal to the cost of installing a sidewalk on topography suitable for its installation as approved by the town engineer prior to the commencement of this land development.
Second motion.
There's been a motion and a second for the land development application for NA School District. Comments? Questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to move the table this motion to allow the town and the school district to continue discussions on this and reach an equitable conclusion.
I second that.
Are there any other comments or discussion on that? Tabling this? Do I still ask them for a table?
Yes.
Comment for the audience? Okay. Okay, this is my first table. Any comment from the audience? Sure. You waited, I had to give you a chance.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Rob Gardner, Director of Facilities for North Allegheny School District. I am here tonight to also request that Town Council table this for this month to, again, as Mr. Kirk indicated, give us some additional time to try and work out some details with this land development. So we are in agreement with requesting the tabling of this motion tonight. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Any other comments?
Just a question, isn't a motion to table sort of self-executing? I mean,
It requires a
No,
vote.
just,
I
yeah.
think you have to vote on
You
it.
still,
Yeah.
you still,
Yeah.
it's a secondary
Yep.
motion, but it still requires a vote, because if the majority wants to push forward with the
Yeah,
motion.
okay,
I did want to give him a chance.
No, I have no objection to Rob talking, I was just wondering on a technical floor.
Okay.
But-
Okay.
but
Any other
the
questions?
Council tells me otherwise.
Okay, so what we're voting on is to table this motion right now, okay?
Yeah.
So everybody knows what we're doing. Okay, all those in favor of tabling the land development for NA, allow a little more time to work out details, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adopt ordinance number 1479 as requested by Barrel Chevrolet, Inc. to amend the town of McCandless zoning code to change the zoning district of certain properties located on Little Meadow Road from R2 1 and 2 family residential district to C3 highway commercial district, and amending the zoning map of the town accordingly, and accepting the Barrel rezoning application limitations, Little Meadow plan of lots. These limitations proposed by Barrel Chevrolet, Inc. will be made part of the minutes for this meeting and incorporated into the land development application for approval by town council.
I second the motion.
There's been a motion and a second to adopt the Barrel Chevrolet zoning change. Is there any questions or comments from council?
Madam Chair, just like to say, I appreciate the exceptional cooperation that Borough showed, and echo the comments of some of the residents that were here tonight. I appreciate that.
It makes our job a lot easier, doesn't it?
Sure does.
And thank you for waiting so long.
So, I did have one question, in the sense, we have only one conversation going on here. And that is limiting the commercial truck access to the parking lot, 6 AM, 7 days a week. Can that be a little later? And like on,
That's what it is. We have an existing consent order on
Okay.
the adjacent.
even on Saturdays, 6 AM?
That's right there. I mean, they've been using that as,
That's what
Okay.
it is.
I'm just thinking about a truck going in that back lot and making a lot of noise.
We're going all the way in the back lot.
Oh, you just
Because
stick
if you
your
look
toe
at-
in the front lot.
Well, no,
Okay.
if you look at this,
Uh-huh.
I have it specific, and I apologize, I have my contacts in, so I'm gonna hold my paper for all day. It will not, we're not gonna have any commercial truck usage permitted in tax parcel 1205D 163, that's the back lot.
Period. So those cars will just be hand-driven back there.
No, this is for commercial trucks, this is just if they're gonna drop off vehicles.
Right, I know.
Yeah,
So those aren't going back there?
no, the commercial vehicles, under the commercial vehicle, we're going with the PennDOT definition of what a commercial vehicle is. And what that means is that if we're gonna have trucks offloading, or God forbid we were to ever have something that was a large vehicle, large truck, they would not be permitted to go back there. But period.
Okay.
It's not allowed back there.
Okay, all right. I just didn't want those big trucks on that back
Oh, I
lot
completely understand.
at
That's
6
why I
o'clock
wrote it.
on Saturday morning.
Oh,
That would be so
I completely
mean.
concur, and that's why we wrote it that way.
Okay. That was my only comment. Did anybody else have any questions or anything about that? Okay. I appreciate you adding this too. That was good.
I
Any,
think you may have brought that up before, and that's why I didn't.
I think I may have.
Yeah, I remember it being brought up.
I think.
I don't remember who did it, but I remember talking about it.
Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor of adopting ordinance 1479 by the Barrel Chevrolet indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Safety Committee.
Safety Committee?
Move to adopt ordinance number 1480, an ordinance amending the codified ordinance of the town of McCandless, specifically Article 709, weapons, to establish criteria to obtain a permit from the chief of police to operate a shooting range and/or archery throwing weapons range.
Is there a second?
Second.
Go
greatly.
Okay, all right, there has been a motion and a second. Is there any comments? We've worked through this pretty diligently. Are there any questions or anything that needs to be
Just,
considered?
guess I just want to clarify that we did advertise that this final draft of this ordinance.
Not the one that does that.
Did we?
We put a summary in the paper.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
Yep, that's what we're supposed to do.
Okay,
Just wanted to make sure.
perfect. Okay, any other questions?
Sorry, Bruce.
I guess just for the record, I just want to reiterate, this does not impose any additional obligations or restrictions on Impact, which is already operating here in the town.
They are grandfathered in.
And I appreciate everyone's work on this.
Unless they start throwing arrows.
Right, or the owner changes. All right, there's been a motion and a second, and no further comment. All those in favor of adopting ordinance 1480, our weapons ordinance, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Services Committee.
Madam Chair, I move to accept the 2019 Northland Public Library Authority Board of Trustees proposed operating budget.
All right, is there a second? And you'll notice that Bill added operating budget in there, because that's the part that we contribute, and that's what we're approving, is our part that we give to the library. Any other questions or comments from council? Any from citizens? Thank you, Amy. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the library's proposed budget indicate by saying, operational budget indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public Works.
Move to award a contract in the amount of $122,750 to C. Crump Inc. for the lowest responsible bidder for the stream bank restoration on an unnamed tributary to Lowry's Run along Highland Road, upstream of Oneida Avenue, under the 2018 segment of the town's PADEP permitted pollutant reduction plan and project-specific PADEP permit.
Second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any comment or question? We've seen the bids. We took the lowest responsible bidder, which is our due diligence. Any comments from the audience? Okay. All those in favor of awarding the contract to Crump Incorporated indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Recreation Committee.
I move to adopt resolution number 24 of the 2018 series. A resolution is authorizing the acceptance of a grant from National Fitness Campaign in the amount of $30,000 for the construction of an outdoor fitness court. We did have a discussion on this.
Yes.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any questions or comments on this? Now, we'll partner with the National Fitness Campaign to hopefully get the rest of those funds so that we can build this court. All right? All right. Anything from the citizens? All those in favor of accepting this grant from National Fitness indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any unfinished business? From the council? Or from the town? Hearing none. Is there any new business? From the council? The town? Hearing none.
Need a motion? New business? You need two motions?
Do I need a motion for new business?
Move to
Well, we
approve
have
the
two.
environmental.
Advisory.
Yep, that's not under new business, that's its
It
whole
is under new
separate.
business.
That's a whole
Under new
separate
business.
thing.
I'll do it.
9,
Move to
10.
approve the Environmental
Oh.
Advisory Committee Sustainable Pennsylvania Certification Assistance Project request. The EAC 10-10 dated October 10th, 2018.
Second.
All right. All those in favor indicate by saying, is there any
You gotta talk.
questions or comments on it at all? I was going off my draft, which I didn't change.
That's fine.
Okay?
We have to vote.
Comments from the audience? That's next. Gotta ask that.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't like none of you guys.
Move to adopt resolution number 25 in the 2018 series of resolution proclaiming October as National Bullying Prevention Month and October 25th.
You're out of order.
How am I out of order? We voted.
Move
Oh,
to
you wanna
adopt
do it.
resolution
Now you
number
wanna do it.
25, 2018 series, a resolution proclaiming October as National Bullying Prevention Month. I should have let you read this. October 25th, 2018 is Unity Day in the town of McCandless.
Second.
Okay. Steve, do you have it there? Do you
I
have
do,
the-
I just wanna point out that you bullied me into,
Do you have the proclamation?
no, I don't.
Here, hand that to him. Would you mind reading that for us, Councilman Murphy?
A proclamation declaring a month of October as National Bullying Prevention Month and October 25th, 2018 is Unity Day in the town of McCandless, which demonstrates our support for those who are bullied and give our pledge to help create a world without bullying. Whereas bullying is physical, verbal, and sexual or emotional harm or intimidation intentionally directed at a person or group of people, and whereas bullying occurs in neighborhoods, playgrounds, schools, and through technology such as the internet and cell phones, and whereas various researchers have conducted bullying is the most common form of violence affecting millions of American children and adolescents annually, and whereas thousands of children and adolescents are affected by bullying annually, and whereas targets of bullying are more likely to acquire physical, emotional, and learning problems, and students who are repeatedly bullied often fear such activities as riding the bus, going to school, and attending community activities, and whereas children who bully are at greater risk of engaging in more serious violent behaviors, and whereas children who witness bullying often feel less secure, more fearful, and intimidated. Now therefore let it be resolved that the Council of the Town of McCandless hereby proclaims October as National Bullying Prevention Month and October 25th, 2018 is Unity Day in the town of McCandless. And be it further resolved that our school students, parents, recreation programs, religious institutions, and community organizations be encouraged to engage in a variety of awareness and prevention activities designed to make our communities safer for all children and adolescents, including the wearing of the color orange on Unity Day, Wednesday, October 25th, to signify our support for those who are bullied and our pledge to help create a world without bullying. Proclaimed this 22nd day of October 2018.
We'd like to also thank the police department for partnering with us to help promote this day of bullying prevention, and the nice article written by our chief. This bullying doesn't, of course, extends into the workplace and to social structures too. It's not merely a thing for kids. So, are there any comments about this? The audience? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution 25 as a National Bullying Prevention Month and Unity Day of October the 25th indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Could there possibly be any public comment?
No chance.
Good night. Now,
I move to adjourn to 6:30 PM Monday, November 5th,
Good job.
2018, to conduct interviews for appointments to expiring and vacant terms on boards, commissions, and committees.
If I could, just before I just want to make sure we're clear on our nomenclature here, and I know it's at the very end, but are we continuing this public meeting until 6:30?
That's when it will resume.
Okay, so I think if I could just suggest a modification, motion to continue
Motion to
business
continue.
meeting until, or to 6:30 PM.
Did you just do that, Julian?
Okay, well, I didn't say continue. I said adjourn.
You gotta say it.
okay. So-
Adjourn to continue.
No, not adjourn, a motion to continue the business meeting
Okay.
to 6:30.
You want me to go through?
Yeah, and
the
I
whole
apologize
thing?
for missing that when the agenda came out.
I don't have to read it again?
No, you don't.
The moral of the story is that we're coming back here on November 5th. That's not when we usually have a meeting, but we have so many candidates to interview that we have to do a separate Monday night to do that. So, just so everybody knows what's going on there. We have a motion. Did we get a second?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mertz.
Did we vote?
No.
All those
No.
in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? No. Good. All right. Thank you all for your perseverance.
Mhm.